Okay, I'm going to be making some eggnog. I got myself a gallon of cream, and it's good until December, but I have no other means of which to use it, and I just realized I never picked myself up any coffee creamer as I had on my list, but I think it was because people were in front of there, and I went to something else first and then forgot to go there, right? Right. Who looks at a list? We just bring it with us. Don't question it, right? Right. So, I combined a whole mess of recipes that I found online. I have tried taking the whites and separating them and then fluffing them and putting them in later. It turns out to be a frothy, freaking thick mess. So, we're canceling that. I use the whole egg, nothing but the whole egg. We'll use sugar. Some things I'll measure, other things I won't. So, with that in mind, we're going to turn this on. These glass bowls have a tendency to hold on to their heat, so careful when you do use them. Let me go get some stuff out of the refrigerator. Refrigerator. Okay. Find out what I did with my said stuff. So, if you want to follow my recipe, you're more than welcome to. I found out that you can either make them with or without eggs. And you can make them with whole eggs like I am here. So, that's on you. So, I'm getting this warmed up so we don't have to deal with it with cracking eggs. Alright. So, my recipe calls for, now this is for 12 eggs. If you want to double it, do so. I have 3 cups of milk. They say don't use reduced fat or low fat. I'm using reduced fat milk, and it works just fine. So, there's 2. There's 3. And the rest for the chef. Woo! Alright. 3 cups of milk. If you want it thinner or thicker, then you just reduce the heavy cream. And then cream, I have 1.5 cups. But it was quite thick as it was. So let me see what 1.5. Uh-oh. Hold the horses here. Just a minute. It's like coagulated. Make sure it was still good. It says sell by October 29th. Yeah. I thought it said December. And I'm like, what? Okay. It was like coagulating in there. And I'm like, oh no, don't tell me this is bad. It's chunking up. It needs to be stirred, that's all. So we're going to go 2 cups instead of 1.5 of cream. It will get thicker when you add the eggs and the sugar. Let me go another cup. Just because this expires in a few days. Today's 27th, so 2 days. It's already starting to chunk up, and I don't want that, so I'm going to just make another batch here after a bit. These eggs were $2.29 a dozen. I have a friend who's been giving me some fresh eggs, but they're new chickens. They're 6 months old, and their shells are very brittle, and the eggs are very small. And they still worked. Figure out how to break into this here. There we go. Adult-proof, you know. Cage-free, medium-grade eggs. So we're just going to go ahead and crack 12. Put that on low. And I was telling her how her eggs sit there and get all jaggedy when you cut them. These are doing the same thing. I don't know if it's calcium deficiency. But then again, I'm using the blunt end of the knife. Let me use the sharp end, see if that's difference. Not by much, but it works. So we've been having 50-degree weathers this last weekend, because today's Monday. We've had rain and wind, and all the leaves are coming down. People are exchanging property that they don't tie down as per suggested every time. Had a neighbor who had the artificial foam pumpkins roll past my place, so I grabbed both of them, put them back where they belong, behind a little haystack thing she had. I usually don't do that, but I wanted to be a new good neighbor. Been here 9 years, not that new. She's new. I don't think a year yet. So, okay. That's for 1 dozen. We'll give this to my chicken lady. Alright, let's stir this. I'm going to put it on about a 3. Just integrate that. This is where you can put in your seasonings like nutmeg. It will start blending in when it gets warm. I'm not going to measure, you just do it to taste. We get some vanilla. I'll be making a bunch of batches. Woo. Okay. Alright, now the sugar. I tried it without sugar this last time. It was actually good. So there's a whole mess of ways you can make this without thinking you have to add all the sugar and the sweetness. You'll find them online, do your own thing. All right, how much sugar? 1 cup of sugar. Couldn't get a full cup in there because I do a little bit more than a cup. Just kind of grab and go. Whisk, which I like using a fork. Begin with, and then Newfie, you want this nice and thick. Don't pay attention to the yellowness. You're not going to get that because you added in the whites. The whites will lump on you even though you do the creamer to the whites or to the eggs slowly. I've noticed there's still chunks in there, so that's why you have to use a strainer. Good workout anyway, huh? Oh, what the heck? Okay, it looked like a big old piece of white. I was like, no, white shouldn't be clumpy like that, but it's a sugar. Usually I'd get my blender out, my mixer, and I'm like, it's gonna get mixed into the bowl anyway, so. Mix, mix, mix. What the hell is this? Chunkin? Kerchunkin? Okay. Doesn't taste expired or anything, so. Now I notice if you want to cook some eggs and you add either milk or water, they turn out so flippin' fluffy. It's not even funny. The other trick I learned, but I quickly stopped, is if you put eggs in with all your ingredients you want, your onions and stuff, and put it in a plastic bag, take that plastic bag and put it in water and boil it for however many minutes, it comes out light and fluffy. My brain says I don't need plastic inside my eggs, that fumes that get released. Yeah, so that's why I stopped that. You're thinking, well, a pan would do the same thing. Well, it doesn't, it's not burning off the center of the pan, the Teflon or whatever it's called. If you get too hot, it would. And that's what kills birds, actually, the Teflon. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. So the gas is. Woo! Good workout. Whee! Throw that away. Okay, we'll wait until it's come up to heat. You want it steaming, not boiling, otherwise you're going to have boiled eggs. Don't want boiled eggs. Okay, so now I can add my alcohol. I'm going to do some Evan Williams Kentucky bourbon. Obviously, you can make it without alcohol. I'm going to measure this only because I'm going to have other alcohol in here. So I'm doing a cup of that. I like mixing and matching. What the heck? Alright? As long as it's the same categories, you don't have to worry about your tummy getting upset. Alright, tell me I didn't lose it. Okay, good. I was like, don't tell me I'm losing it. Alright, so then I'm going to use some Kessler American Blended Whiskey. No preference on anything. I'm just buying whiskey and bourbon and all the things. So there's 2 cups with a little bit of creamer in it, so it looks gross, but hey. Oh yeah, and they want some salt, which does, in fact, help, because when I used it without the sugar, the salt came together. It was so amazing. Okay. It's like putting salt in your coffee. Takes away the bitterness. Little tricks, you know. This you don't have to pour in slowly because it's alcohol. Okay. Oh, so what's everybody's weather like everywhere you're at? Let me know. I know nobody, everybody watches this videos and barely any likes and no comments. But I feed off the comments. I love them. We get a conversation going, but that's very hard for people to do. I got a whole slew of green tomatoes since our weather dipped down. I put them in a paper bag, and they said put a banana in there because the gases release will ripen them. So we shall see. I just bought a banana today. They've been in there since Friday, so they say give it about a week. Let me go grab my super duper ladle. Little old ladle, eh? Where's my ladle, eh? Gotta have a ladle, eh? The ladle is the best way to do this slowly, so. It's mine, I'm drinking it so I can stick my finger in it. You want it to about 160 and or steaming. Constantly stirring, especially when you get those eggs in there. And again, this glass pot will retain heat. So just because you turn it off doesn't mean it doesn't keep on cooking, so you'll have to keep stirring it. So you have to kind of predict ahead of time. Getting there. Now you're thinking, as hot as it gets, how come it doesn't cook anyway, even though you do it slowly into there? I don't know. Anything slowly is good, huh? And all this, with what I added, is going to fill this white bowl up just below the rim. So, just an FYI. So, if you ever want to do it, again, it's 12 whole eggs, 3 cups of milk, 1 1.5 cups of cream, and adjust according to how thick you want it. And you can do it after you put this in here. 1 cup of sugar, about a tablespoon of nutmeg. You can put cinnamon, which I haven't done, which I'll do. Vanilla, and some salt. So just do that according to your taste. But another reason I do this when it's cold and put the nutmeg and cinnamon in is so I know how warm it is, because it will disappear. Now you can also, which I'm going to do again, I bought these in Utah at the Mennonite store. I'm going to do 3 cinnamon sticks. Have you ever sucked on a cinnamon stick? You might as well just call Fire and Ice, man. Or you want me. Alright, so here we go, all full of cinnamon. It's hard to see. Let me see if I can show you. Woohoo! Look at that ugliness. There's my beautiful eggs. So I've been playing on my headset, the Meta S3. It's okay, but some of the games are individual developers, and I go in and report a bug and tell them the situation, and it kind of sort of works, but then it doesn't. So on this one game, if you have this game I'm mentioning or a Meta 3 headset, let me know. But I go on to Bobber's Bay, and it's a fishing game, and you can go into the stores and you can buy stuff, and it says, you know, when you first walk in, there's a little menu that comes up and says approach the counter to make a purchase. And so you go to approach the counter, and it should, you click up on where you're talking or something, and a white screen comes in, should be able to purchase stuff. I cannot do that. And I went in there, and there's a little screen that came up, says to approach the counter. First time I've seen it after I complained about it, and now it's gone again. And you talk to the bot, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you're still having problems. Maybe I can figure out a way around it, and blah, blah, blah. And you keep asking the bot these questions, and they're like... So it just gets ridiculous, but your voice is there, and they record what you're saying and doing and problems. I can't even uninstall it to reinstall it to see if that helps. So I've been trying to figure out how to do that, and I don't know if I can or not, but... Alright, here we go. We're going to go on very, very low as we going to multitask here. Okay, not all of it. So you want to stir in between all of it. Don't go too fast. You'll get those lumpy bumpies. We are going to strain it nonetheless at the end. You'll see how much of the lumpy bumpies come out, which is nothing more than the egg whites not wanting to cooperate. But just experiment. Do, you know, one recipe and then adjust and go, you know, I liked it a little bit thicker. Now when you put it in the refrigerator, it's going to thicken up even more. And they say as soon as it's done, you cover it up and put it in the refrigerator. I don't like doing that because all the steam and stuff, I just don't, yeah. It's not cool. Now these eggs were just bought out of the refrigerator, so it'd be easier if you got them, pretty warm now, if you got them and set them on your counter for a few hours to get them room temperature, so you wouldn't have to wait so long. But nonetheless. I'm going to put this into a number 3, the pot, because that's going to be the last of my situation there. We're done with you. Stay there like a good kid. And now we're just going to pour it in. And this is where you're going to constantly stir it for 15 to 20 minutes. Till it gets a little bit thicker. Don't keep going into it. Well, it's not getting thick. I don't know what to do. At this point, if you have somebody with you that one can stir, the other one can get ready to have it poured in. So yeah, number 3. can see it's pretty thick. Now I have to taste it. Woo! That's a punch of alcohol, my friends. But I like it with a punch. Tastes good. There's no overwhelming of salt or anything else. The alcohol obviously is going to eliminate everything. But you want to warm those eggs back up to thicken it up. You want it thicker, get some more cream in here. But I have another dozen eggs. And then I'll be getting a second dozen eggs, which will be 3 total. So I'll be making some more to use up that creamer. And I got a whole gallon of milk. Let me go grab my strainer here. But yeah, if you've ever been intimidated by making things or whatnot, the hardest part is to make sure that you do that. You know, what do they call it? There's a certain name. I don't know if it's called integrating, when you get the cream and the milk into the eggs and make sure it's done correctly so it doesn't, you know, coagulate on you. So, anyway, I'm not going to bother to show you that. That's easy. I'm just going to use that ladle again and put it in there. And then let it cool down on the counter. I'll put like a lid on it to prevent anything from getting in there or what have you. Or whatnot. Now it's getting really thick, see? So, that's cool. Whoop! Had a string of something come by. Like a string of white. There we go. You'll see pieces of white that just will not cooperate. So, don't get discouraged if you see chunks. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If you like these kind of situations, let me know. Comments, questions down below. Let me know if you like eggnog and how you make it. So until next time, bye-bye.